What if the story you've been living your whole life wasn't actually the truth?
What if it was just a set of old beliefs created years ago that are still running the show today?
I'm Victoria.
And I'm Milt.
And this is Rewrite Your Story, the podcast where we explore how the narratives in your head shape your life
and how you can begin rewriting them with clarity, compassion, and tools you can actually use.
Let's dive in.
Hey, Victoria. How are you?
Hey, Milt. I'm doing all right. How are you?
So welcome everyone to our podcast. This is our first foray into this, and we hope starting of a lot more. Why don't we do some quick introductions about who we are and what brought us here, and maybe talk about a little bit about Roots as a whole and what we're trying to accomplish, and all of that. So
Awesome.
let's go.
Okay, I'll start. Hey everyone. I am Victoria. I am a skills coach at Roots Counseling and Wellness. I actually started with Roots as an intern during my undergrad and absolutely loved it. I loved the vibe that they had in their office. I loved the purpose that they have of their company. And it ended up turning into a job, which I was really excited for. I was introduced to DBT through Roots Counseling and Wellness, and it just blew my mind and changed my life. I love the idea of, a model that isn't just about the processing stuff, right? And the internal thinking, but it gives you things to do. And that really stood out to me a lot. And I just really appreciated that and the blendedness of mindfulness and the basic cognitive behavioral stuff too, right? And then we ended up going into, I'm sure Milt will cover this, but then we ended up falling into internal family systems, and that also changed my life, and I absolutely love that model so much. And so I'm really excited for the turn that we're making as a company, and the way that we're going to start progressing with the combination of these two and what it's going to become for us and what that means to us. That's my little intro.
Awesome. I love that Victoria started because she's been such an awesome asset. We can't even express how great she is to be a part of our team. When she came in just to do her internship with Southern Utah University in their amazing psychology program, right out of the gate, she just spit fire and willing to go and whatever. So we are blessed to have her on our team. So I'm Milt. I am one of the co-founders. My wife and I founded Roots Counseling back in 2016. At the time, we were working for the Medicaid provider, and at the time, we probably didn't see ourselves transitioning into a full-time private practice. But I figured out that I play very poorly with other people, and after 6 years of working at the Medicaid provider, 5 years for my wife, we decided that it was an opportunity to take the leap and to go full-time into private practice and start forging our own path. And we have been going strong now since then, and growing ever since, and we're pretty grateful for what we have. When we started out, I volunteered. My wife was voluntold that we were going to be the DBT therapist in Southwest and their units, and we had a great time. We learned a therapy that became a part of our life. It wasn't just a therapy model. It was something that actually helped us enhance our core values. It helped us live our faith better. It helped in what we considered every aspect of our life. And so we fell in love with it. We also fell in love with the population that we serve, and we tend to serve with this therapeutic approach. And that population is generally pretty pretty complex trauma clients. I guess that's a really bad way of saying it. These clients have suffered a lot, and they're sometimes the redheaded stepchild of the mental health world. And so we grew in love with this population that had been kind of underserved and needed advocates, and we wanted to help them. And DBT is not a model for the faint of heart. It is definitely a model that you have to kind of throw your whole self in. You can teach the skills, and that's perfectly fine. But if you're going to do DBT the right way, you have to throw your whole self into it. And we did.
No, I think that's a really good point, though, about like, I think this model is like DBT, and then the model that we're working towards is very much you're going to get what you put into it, right? And so
Yeah.
if you're just like, you know, I don't know if we can cuss, I'm going to cuss. If you're just half-assing it, like you're not going to get as much out of it as you potentially can, right? And if you're not willing to put in the work, then you're not going to see the results that we are letting you know, like it can happen. Like not only
and what you're talking about is the work that the clinician, the coaches have to put in.
yes.
And so it's a model that asks of you to be right there with your clients. So normally that talk that you were giving was what we give to clients, right? And what clients hear when they come to therapy. You're only going to get out of it what you put into it. But in this case, DBT is only as good as what you're willing to put into it as the clinician or the provider or the practitioner. So we did. We threw our whole self into it, and we developed roots, and we came up with this motto: learn, heal, grow, strengthen. And we emblazoned it on our logo, and then we just kind of put it in the background. And then we always tried to filter it through the DBT understanding. Dialectical behavior therapy. I don't think if we've said that. Written by Marshall Linehan all the way back, published in 1994. Revised in 2014 or 2012, 2014, I think. And yeah, great model. We've used it from day one since I was a baby staff worker at a residential treatment center all the way to today. My, I think 15 total years in the mental health field, maybe 16 now, 13, almost 14 as a practitioner. So, as with any model, there are things that it doesn't complete, it doesn't fulfill. And we were running into some problems, and we were running into some roadblocks. And so we both, Rochelle and I both got EMDR trained, and I love EMDR. I think it's a great model. I just didn't attach to it as well as other people did. Not that I didn't see benefit out of it, and not that my clients didn't benefit out of it. I had a harder time with the model than other people who have, full bore into it. On top of it, it wasn't something I could help expand on my team. I had to be a clinician to do EMDR. And so there were some limitations there because we didn't want just a model that only we, the therapist, could use. We wanted a model that all of our team could be involved in and working with. So EMDR came, and several of my clinicians stayed with it, but I didn't. And then along comes this crazy system called internal family systems. And we tried to learn it for 2 years solid. Multiple different ways, because it's not exactly an easy system to get into. In fact, to get into the level 1 training, it's still a lottery, and it's still $3,500. It's a really expensive, hard to get into training. And so we signed up for some like ancillary version trainings, and we never got it until we watched a video training that we purchased from a company. And the author or the presenter was Frank Anderson. And at the time, he was one of the main trainers for the Institute of Self-Leadership, which is the official IFS Institute. IFS founded by Dr. Rick Schwartz, or I'm sorry, Dr. Richard Schwartz, or Dick Schwartz is what he goes by. And Frank was one of the main trainers under Dick. And Frank made it sound like we could do this. He also was involved in helping Inside Out become what it was. And slowly that became our favorite movie from a therapeutic standpoint. I think I've seen that movie with clients about 30 times.
Yes.
Not to mention the times that I've seen it on my own. So great movie. We love it. The second one was even, it wasn't better, but I definitely felt like it was a good follow-up. And so we started using parts work, as it's called, and we started figuring out how to integrate it into DBT. And all of a sudden we started finding a new excitement. We found this new energy. And we found ways to make DBT even better. And we found ways to make parts work better in DBT and with our clients. And we were excited. And then the goal turned into, we're going to write the blended book of DBT and IFS. And then we never did. And as much as we have all these great people around us, none of us could figure out how to get that book going.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And that leads to the last little while. In fact, actually, it's partly because my dad passed away. About 2 years ago, my father passed away, and one of his really good friends, and a friend that I knew and I was acquainted with and respected and liked. I didn't realize we were as close in age as we were. But he had always, liked me and followed me from a distance and just kind of kept tabs on me. And at my dad's funeral, we reconnected. And this gentleman happens to be really, really, he's just brilliant. He's a freaking genius. I mean, his pedigree is insane. And he connected with me and said, well, what are you doing? And we started talking, and lo and behold, he knows how to use all the AI tools to help write books. And so we started writing the book. But as we were doing it, we realized that we were just playing with other people's stuff. We were playing with other people's toys. And in reality, no one teaches DBT the way we do. I don't know that there's anyone on the planet who thinks the way I do, let alone understands the way that I give metaphors and any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so we already knew that there was something different about the way we approached it. And everyone kind of has their little flavor. Victoria has her little flavor that she brings to the table. My wife, Rochelle, has her flavor that she brings to the table. Sometimes when you add those flavors together, they make a masterful meal. And sometimes those flavors or those seasonings conflict. But we have beautiful, we have beautiful opportunities to bring a lot of different ideas to the table, but they've all been filtered through DBT and IFS. And my friend challenged me and said, why don't you write your model? Why don't you write the model that works for you? And we went to our shelf, and we realized what was on our shelf was this motto that we just came up with as kind of this cool battle cry, something, I don't know. We just liked it. And it dawned on me that why don't I build that model? Now, that model is heavily influenced by all of the things that I've studied. DBT being the top, internal family systems, EMDR is in there. Acceptance and commitment therapy is in there. The mindfulness-based world and the mindfulness-based therapeutic space is in there. And so we're going to talk about that, kind of an overview of the pillars, and give our intro to these things, and then we're going to kind of build upon those as we go on the podcast. But we wanted to give a background, and I want to get Victoria to jump in here and kind of, as we threw this out and whatnot, what was your experience with that?
Yeah, I think we have been a DBT place for so long, right? And And when we found, internal family systems and, like you said, started to mesh those together, it was really exciting because once we got it, like I think with parts work, once you get it, it's like, whoa, right?
But until you get it, it's like, ah,
Until you get it, it sounds crazy. Like I remember my first reaction to it, I was like, there is no way that this is literally telling us to tell our clients that they have multiple voices in their head. Like that doesn't sound right. That sounds scary. But then again, like once I got it, I was like, oh wait, and especially with with the Inside Out movie and recognizing like all of the emotions, right? Like those are all our parts, and that just like really connected and really hit. And so I have been so attached to the idea of DBT and IFS for so long that like when you brought to the table of we're going to do this, we're going to write this book, we're going to write this model, it's going to happen. I remember being like, here's Milt with his big mind again, right? Like one of his big ideas. And I remember like a little, I guess, confusion, not, I don't know, I guess just like a little resistance, right? Of like, well, why? Like we have it. It's fine, right? Like it works, it makes sense. Like why? But then just remembering like the goal of roots counseling, right? And the goal of like how we want to serve our clients and wanting to give them the most effective and like cohesive way to build the life that they want to live and like actually figure out what that life looks like. And so I've really enjoyed identifying how our motto, our learn, heal, grow, strengthen, like you said, right? It's always been kind of like on the back shelf and it's like it's been there, but we haven't ever really leaned into it. And now I'm to the point where I'm like, oh my God, why haven't we leaned into that more? Like it hits on so many levels of the way that we teach and like what we want our clients to like take from that. Because I think we've like for me personally, I've always really hit on the phrase of like build your life worth living.
yeah, it's a very
And
famous DBT phrase.
yeah, it's a very famous DBT phrase. And taking that step back and recognizing like to do that, the model that we have, those 5 pillars, they all go into that. Like you have to do all of that for that to happen, right? For that life to come to. You have to learn and you have to work on your healing and like just all the things, right? And so yeah, I think since having that mind shift of recognizing like this isn't us trying to reinvent the wheel, this is us trying to just build something that actually connects with not only us as like the employees, right, and the clinicians, but also our clients, and it helps them to just like understand things that we've maybe already talked about and they already are familiar with, but in a better way, I guess.
Well, and I think that's been the goal, right? Because as we looked at the different models, we saw our clients running into walls, and so when we sat down to do this, it took about 3 iterations for us to, well, for me to realize I'm not rewriting DBT. In fact, what I am doing is and what we're doing is building a structure to work in that gives people a place to identify where they're at in a process so that they can figure out what's the next most effective step, next best step, next whatever. And that if the process works, then it doesn't matter what you integrate it with, because you can overlay this process into any therapeutic model. And in fact, what I've really been leaning into a lot lately is narrative therapy, or the story that we tell ourselves, which of course is completely tied to IFS. So as we build this, what we're really building is an opportunity to say, where are you at in this phase, in these phases? And yeah, and the thing that we haven't mentioned, because there's these 4 pillars: learn, heal, grow, strengthen. As we have a tool we call the DBT house, which is a tool we've used with lots of clients in the past. But ultimately, it's just a tool to help you organize your values and stuff. We wanted to rebuild that based on this model, and really we wanted to give you a way to identify when you're in which phase, and is that phase that you're in the most effective. And the way that you assess that is through radical acceptance, which of course is a core mindfulness skill. DBT being heavily influenced by the Buddhist faith and Buddhist philosophies, and of course many mindfulness-based therapeutic approaches have Buddhism kind of woven throughout them. And so we're not any different. We're definitely going to steal that same concept, because radical acceptance is the thing that moves you through the phases. But what I like about this model is there isn't one way to move through the phases. There's whatever phase you're in is okay, and then you can figure out how to move to the next phase based on learning how to accept what actually is and what you need to do. Which means I jump back to the learning phase all the time. Today's been a hell of a day. I need the healing phase when I get home. I don't need the strengthening, and I definitely don't need the growth phase. I don't want to grow anymore today. I want to accept that I'm at my max capacity, and I want to go and just focus on healing. And so it's so much more of a compassionate state that we're talking about, because we're giving people an opportunity to just say, where are you in reality? Where do you want to get to? And do you realize the phases that you need to work through in order to get to where you're trying to get to?
Yeah. I really like it, because taking that approach, like I was going to compare it at one point to like the hierarchy of needs, right? And like you have the big, the bottom, and like you have to go from the bottom to go to the next level, whatever. But I think even that it's a very almost like rigid mindset, right? And like you're saying, with this, it takes the pressure off of having to think like, I have to do this, and I have to do this, and I have to do this, and like a very strict,
it's the linear out of it.
Yeah. And instead recognizes like, hey, you might have healed and grown and strengthened from this thing, and it's okay to come back if you want to learn more about it. And if you feel like it's not, if you're not fully where you would like to be with that, there's nothing wrong with that, and you can come. And it's just like
and the radical acceptance underneath it would be, I'm now at where I am with it today, not
right
where
now.
I was, a year, 6 months, 10 years ago. So even if you've worked through a trauma, even if you've healed in the way you needed to heal in that moment.
Yeah.
And it's okay to go back to healing in this moment if that's what you need.
Yeah.
So it is very much similar to the needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but it's functioning from the standpoint of, I don't have to be at the highest phase and not go back to healing and not go back to growing. In fact, one of my favorite quotes of all time, and I cut you off, so I want to jump back to you. One of my favorite quotes of all time, and I don't even know who said it, but the person who I heard it from was Dr. Jordan Peterson, is the proper form of being is the eternal form of becoming. And I just love that idea that no matter what, I'm going to be bouncing through those phases in life, and accepting that reality, man, that makes things so much better.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I think it reminds me, like what you just said, reminds me of the idea that we're always learning, and like how knowledge is like the best thing, right? Like we're always wanting to educate ourselves. And I think this process allows for that, and it helps us recognize it's okay to not be perfect. And I don't know, I just think it takes the pressure off of feeling like you have to have all the answers right here, right now, and instead being able to recognize like, I'm here in this moment, and I know what I need to know right now, and that might change in 5 years, that might change tomorrow, that might change when I go to bed tonight. And I don't know, I just feel like it allows you to just like take a breath and like you don't have to carry all of that pressure. You don't have to have your shoulders raised up to your ears and your jaw clenched all the time because of all the stress. Like, if you need to take that step back, that's okay. And there's nothing
Well,
wrong with that.
maybe this metaphor will help. One of the definitions of perfect is complete. And I'm kind of looking at this as a complete model, but I want to give a definition of completeness that I think matters. This model, I believe, is complete because it gives you the opportunity to kind of continually develop in it, not because you're completed.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be giving the tools, we're going to be helping you live in a state of accepting the moment that you're in and where you can go to maximize whatever you're trying to achieve. You know, the life you want to have, the story that is actually there, and how you want to influence the story that's actually there.
Yeah.
And so that model is complete. And it's beautiful because we get to be not completed inside the model. We get to continue to develop. And that, to me, is the version of perfection that I want to shoot towards. I don't want to be completed. I want to be completing.
Yeah.
I want to be working towards things, but even not always working, because, again, sometimes the healing and the growing comes from doing nothing.
Just being. Yeah.
Just being. I mean, there's so much growth that can happen in being, and we don't even allow that to be the case. So, so why don't we jump into what this is? So our current working name, and I am saying current working name because it's not exactly settled, but we definitely think we've settled on the acronym for this model.
Yes.
And we love the acronym.
I will say I wanted a different one, but this one is great too.
However,
I was going
this one
for
screams us.
Yeah, it's true. It's
What were
definitely
you
true.
going for?
I was going for the SAD acronym. I just liked that
I know.
idea. People could be
Yeah,
like,
and
you know,
as
I
much as
healed from the SAD model. Like, that just is great.
as much as I love that, and Sadness is very much one of my favorite characters in Inside Out. I couldn't do it. I couldn't create the SAD model.
Yeah.
Just to give some context, my wife and I just went on a trip, and one of the places we stopped was Independence Hall. And one of the most famous debates they had in Independence Hall was what the national bird should be. You want to guess what they originally wanted it to be? And this is
The
mostly
pigeon?
Ben Franklin. Nope. The turkey.
Oh,
The,
that's
the sad
fun.
the sad model is your turkey.
Is the turkey. That's hilarious.
And the
Turkeys are
eagle
vicious.
model. What's that?
I said turkeys are vicious, so that could have
Turkeys
been.
are vicious. They're great animals, and I saw some beautiful ones back east.
This is such an amazing like metaphor. Turkeys are vicious. Sadness can be vicious as heck. Like, it's connecting.
I get
Anyways.
it. So the current name, or the current acronym that will probably stay, is SAS, the SAS model, or we're going to create a sassy community, which I love, is probably going to be the eagle that wins out.
Yeah.
So currently, as it stands,
turkeys.
Currently as it stands, the SAS model stands for self-alignment system or structure or something like that. We haven't figured out the final S. We just know that we are probably going to land on the SAS model or the SASE model. Now, there's an assessment tool out there called the SASE, not the same thing. However, you could easily use the information you get from the SASE in the SAS model. So let's talk about that name, self-alignment structure or system. I like system, but structure works just fine too. And if someone has a better S word, I'm not opposed to hearing it. We can throw it out to the whole, our whole community. But let's talk about what that means a little bit. Why don't you, because I talked a lot for a while, and why don't you tell us what it means to you, Victoria, and as you've applied all the things that you've learned over the years.
I think for me, um, again, kind of like going back to like what I really connected with internal family systems is the idea that all of the, pieces of me or things that I do or emotions that I have or whatever that I might not like and that I judge and like all those things, that doesn't define me. Like those aren't all who I am, right? And I
Yeah.
have all of these different parts of me. Um, and and then I have this, my capital S self is just like warmth. Like when I envision that, when I see that, when I'm working with that, it is just this ball of orange healing, like warmth energy, like like
Great.
the sun, honestly, just like the sun. That's
Yourself
what
is
I
the sun.
envision. Yeah.
You're the baby from Teletubbies.
Very Leo coded. Oh, I don't like the Teletubby name coded. I like astrology. I'm a Leo. No, but so I think with this approach to it and this self-alignment idea, it I really connect with it because again, it allows me to recognize like I am not the worst parts of myself. I have
Yeah.
so many other pieces to me that make me who I am. Um, and I can be the best, most effective, whatever you want to call it, but I can be the best version of myself when I allow that sun to like lead and when I allow myself
Yeah.
to be in alignment with that energy that I have, that I want. Um, and so I really appreciate that. And I think I lean more towards like the system idea too, because again, I think it takes into account um just all the pieces and
Yeah.
what we were talking about before, right? With the pillars, like it's not a step by
It's
step
going
kind
to
of
build
thing. It's
upon
a
either.
yeah,
It's not a ladder model.
and they all connect and they all mesh and they all flow.
Mhm.
And I think system kind of depicts that a little bit more than structure because and again, this is just like my personal opinion, but with structure, I think it feels again like this and this and this and
Yeah.
there's certain steps and there's certain things you have to do and stuff like that with where again like the system I envision like just everyone together and we're all working together and it's I don't know, so that's my little rant but
Yeah, in fact, I love the definition you're giving, and in fact, I wouldn't have even considered that, but um, or at least I wouldn't have used that to describe it, and yet it's very powerful because it, one of my favorite YouTube videos that we've shown several times throughout the years in different groups and whatnot is the art of kintsugi. And so the idea that you can be this broken thing that can be put back together with gold or silver paint. So this pottery that gets broken, or this piece of art that gets broken, and you can be glued back together. And the beauty is in its not pristineness. Its beauty
yeah
is in the fact that the cracks are highlighted sometimes, and so there's this embracing of all of our parts in
yeah
that, and in not only embracing them but embracing them in precious metals like gold and silver,
yeah
because they're
and
so important to us.
highlighting their importance
Yeah,
yeah
yeah, recognizing the value of that lesson or that moment and what it did for you. And then what I love about what you said is that it's still everything's pointing back to whatever this guiding light is, in your case this sun. um, and that's very, very, very much what we're trying to do. And so if anyone's familiar with IFS, they will have heard of the concept of the self. And in IFS, they have something called the 8 C's. And I always forget what they are, but goodness, I have them
let's
right
see if
on
I
my
can
phone
name
screen.
them. We have calm.
Compassion. Yep, that's calm.
Oh,
Yep, go
you
ahead.
have
Go ahead.
them.
No, no, I
Okay.
want to test you. You go
Okay.
ahead.
We have calm, compassion, connection, creativity, um, curiosity. Um, oh, what have I said? Calm, compassion, connection, creativity, curiosity. Um, oh, give me a hint.
Your attitude or the way you carry yourself. Confidence.
Oh, confidence, confidence, and I don't know.
Courage.
Oh, dude, it's fine.
And clarity.
I thought I said clarity. Oh,
Maybe you did.
I don't know. I always get 5.
Either
So
way.
that's like, yeah.
Yeah, I get like 3.
Yeah.
So these 8 C's make up this energy state that internal family systems calls the self. And what I like about that is it's a very broad definition. So if you have a religious background, then it allows for your religious interpretation to be at play there. If you have more of just a broader spiritual background, like Victoria would say she has it, I'm not speaking for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're close enough in friendship that I can say
Yeah.
you're spiritual, not religious.
Yes.
And I come from a more structured religious background. But then it also allows for just whatever interpretation to be there. If those are just things that's states of being that you want to embody, those are all good states of being to embody. And curiosity being, in my head, one of the top ones, and part of the reason it is in my head a top one, because without curiosity, I can't get to the rest of them, in my opinion. And so when we were coming up with this, we wanted to honor the influence that IFS was to us, but we wanted to add our spin on it. And so we didn't define self, but what we're saying is, as you align the whole system, you get to a version of the self. So in my version, my self is my soul. And to me, my soul is connected to my higher power. And that is where truth lives. And I don't always know how to access it. And I like to say that if I ever write my book one day, the title is going to be How to Use the Meat Sack God Gave You, because I see my body as where my parts live.
Yeah.
And so they don't always align with my soul, because they have desires and things that they like to do that are not always higher power aligned,
Right.
if you will. Universal alignment. Like some days I want to punch people in the face. Some days I want to tell off everyone. I just read a story about a girl who got arrested who was working at a panda restaurant because someone asked for extra fortune cookies. And she screamed, "No, only one destiny per customer." And she jumped up on the counter and started reading random new destinies. Everyone gets new destinies, and just kind of had a breaking point.
Oh no, that's crazy.
That I wouldn't call self-aligned. And so I like the idea of alignment better than I like other phrases. Self-led is the phrase they use in internal family systems. I want to use self-alignment. I'm a very big fan of Jung as well, and he's got his shadow work that he talks about a lot. And so obviously there's some influences there of, I want a method of aligning my shadow with me. If they're integrated or they're aligned or whatever. So, if I works there, SAI, that just makes C. Yeah, that doesn't work. Self-alignment integration. Yeah, no, that doesn't work.
We're sticking with
SAS
the
is better.
model. It
SAS
is the
is
SAS
better.
model.
You're right. So
I like how I'm talking about, like, it's not, we can't be rigid, but I'm very rigid about this.
I
You
love
took
it
SAT away
because
from me. We're sticking with SAT.
we're going to build the SAS community, and it's going to be awesome.
Oh yeah.
It's epic. So as soon as I heard it, it screamed us, because we're pretty sassy, and I love being a personality, and whether that's a part of me or whether that's myself, I don't care. As long as it's aligned, I'm good.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, and there's lots more that will come out as we continue to develop this model, and we continue to work on the underpinnings and the things that add to it. And of course, as we learn more, we're going to continue to add to this framework, because it's going to be a living model. And I love the idea that we're building something that can continue to grow and be more as it develops. All right. I almost feel like we've talked a lot. And I feel like I want to end here before we get into the 4 pillars.
Yeah.
And well, not just the 4 pillars, but also the 4 pillars plus the roof, or the connecting
The
post, if you will, or whatever.
energy
Yeah,
of the 4
whatever it
pillars.
is, because I think self-alignment happens the most when we're radically accepting, and we need to get into what that means. So why don't we, this is a good stopping point. I think this will lead into us talking about the 4 pillars next time and radical acceptance. So I just want to, I want to, well, I'm always happy to hang out with Victoria. We've taught groups together for years, and we haven't had an opportunity to hang out like this for a long time. So I'm super excited about that. Hopefully we get my wife in every once in a while to talk about these things, and maybe even some of the other clinicians and coaches that we've got here. The ones that are willing to talk about their experience as we're developing this, and how they see themselves in this model too. So yeah, what final thoughts, Victoria, takeaways from today as we end all our groups?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I will be honest, I wasn't in an awesome mood coming in, and it's always just encouraging and kind of mind-blowing how just connecting with you and talking about our passion with this really always just shifts my mood. And so I'm really, really happy right now. I'm feeling pretty content. So yeah, I appreciate you. I'm excited to see where this goes and where this podcast goes, and maybe people's comments on whether it should be system or structure, or if they think we should go with SAD. And I'm not going to bribe anyone, but
It's a
if
turkey.
they like that. No, I'm excited. I think this is going to be fun. So
I love it. My takeaway is, no matter how hard I try, the best way for me to approach these things is in the moment. I'm the best version, and we have the best experiences when we just allow the moment to kind of become what it is. And so reconnecting with you and feeling that energy that we have all the time when we teach together, I just love it. So I'm super happy we get to do this together. And just as a side note, Victoria's on her journey of becoming a therapist. Yay! And so hopefully she'll get to talk about how that is influencing the model a little bit too, because she's right in the midst of like what they're learning right now, and how to apply this. And so we're super excited, because I already know how amazing she's going to be as a therapist. Now she gets to actually go and do it, so it'll be great. So
awesome.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode of Rewrite Your Story. Take a moment to notice what story showed up for you today.
Remember, you're not your story. You're the one holding the pen.
And each moment is a chance to write a new chapter.
Be sure to join us next time as we keep exploring the path towards self-alignment.
We'll see you then.